Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is Mixtressrae. You're watching Mixtress video. So I thought we'd do today, instead of a pick-a-pile reading, do like a, just like a collective reading. So this is going to be like a collective summer solstice reading. I mean, we are several days out from the solstice as I record this. Like a week out, actually. But that's okay. Better late than never, right? So I've got several oracle decks here. And I've got a tarot deck. And I've already lit a candle. I think this is pretty fitting to have Ace of Wands as our summer solstice, one of our summer solstice cards. Let's light some incense though, shall we? I'm gonna go with coconut because that's what I've been burning a lot for summertime. But if you are participating at home, choose your own favorite incense. Nope. Okay, so let's pull maybe oracle cards first, perhaps, to go off of this Ace of Wands. I think that'll make sense. I've brought out like two sort of basic oracle decks, and then an animal oracle and the mystical shaman oracle as well. So what kind of concepts do we as a collective need to focus on this summer? Nature. Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious with our Ace of Wands too. Like the biggest, weirdly, like the biggest nature time for me lately has been summer. I do not love a hot day. I do not love heat. I do not love wearing shorts. I do not love my legs being exposed in the world. But as I've said many times, so forgive me for those of y'all that have heard me say this every fucking summer, I really like the fact that summer makes you feel dumb. You feel dumb in summer. You can't have as many thoughts in summer. If your summer is in a space that gets really hot, and mine is. Like it's like 100 degrees outside right now, Fahrenheit, and it's extra, and I am sweating. Even though I'm inside with a fan on me. And then we also have perception. This is hilarious because this was the card I pulled for myself in a summer solstice reading as my sort of like focus for the summer is perception. So the fact that that's coming up for the collective, I think is significant as well. It's all in how you look at things, right? All in how you perceive. Perception is reality. And also, what's coming up for me a lot in my life right now is not only, I mean, this is an aspect of perception versus reality too. What are you paying attention to? It very much matters where you are putting your attention, because these days, most people are chronically online. You're online right now, watching me. Are you paying attention to things that are nourishing for you, or are they causing you stress? How can you do better by yourself by paying attention to things that are nourishing for you? That is a big theme. So the whole idea of summer for me being, and I do think of the wands as summer. I think you're supposed to think of them as spring. Most of the time I think of them as summer. I think it's the hottest suit. It's the hottest suit, so I think of it as summer. Even though astrologically that doesn't work. But for these purposes, the Ace of Wands today is representing summer and nature. So for me, like in the summer, that is the time that I spend the most time on my bicycle, at the pool, just sort of like allowing my brain to get baked in the heat, allowing all of those extra thoughts to melt away because I don't need them. You know, I do a lot of, when I read books in the summer, usually I'm rereading something that's very familiar to me because, and a lot of people read like, you know, they have summer reads, and those are usually like, more lighthearted, less thinky types of books. I always like thinky books, but when I'm rereading a thinky book, you know, I've already sort of done the more heavy lifting of like wrapping my brain around the concepts, and I'm just sort of luxuriating in them, since most of what I read is nonfiction. So what I'm saying is, whatever, I think it's important for us to spend time in summer, particularly if it's hot where we live, just doing things that make us feel like a kid again. Sitting on the porch eating a mango chili popsicle. Chili mango that sounds better. That order sounds better. Chili mango popsicle on the porch. Riding your bike over to your mom's house. Like, these are obviously very specific examples from my own life, but whatever like version of that works for you, I would encourage you to do this summer. And we got Ancient Ones as our card. So this is just kind of like the ancestor card in this deck, right? Also, this is reminding me, like, again, because like one of my main themes in my life is, right now, is I'm trying to transition out of being chronically online. And so I'm doing little things for myself, such as like a little piece of salt in this table groove here. Get that out. I am specifically trying to keep my phone out of arm's reach right now in my life. And so I'm doing lots of different things to make that happen. Like, I'm specifically keeping my phone in a different room than I'm in when I'm at home, and when I'm at work, I'm keeping my phone in my locker so that I only see it on my lunch break. And then, you know, as I'm getting ready to go home, of course I look at it. You know, that kind of thing. I think ultimately, for me, I'm going to be one of those people that insists upon using a dumb phone eventually. I don't know. I don't need a new phone right now, so I'm not going to be getting a phone before I need one. But point is, I'm trying to regain my focus in life. I'm trying to pay attention to the things that matter. And the things that matter are nature. You know, nature. Reality. Reality and fantasy. But like, for me, I think, and I think this applies to a lot of people, being chronically online, being constantly within arm's reach of our phones is causing us a lot more anxiety than we need to have. And we are, you know, we're in the middle of, you know, I hate to be that guy, but I am that guy. So if you didn't know this about me, you know it now. I am that guy. Like, I'm very much, you know, we're all plugged into the Matrix, man. I'm that kind of person. I am that kind of person. I am an advocate of taking the purple pill because I do think you need a little bit of delusion in your life. It's a reddish purple, but I'm not fully a red pill person, especially because, like, you know, bigots have taken over the Matrix. Taken over the Matrix mentality that the Wachowski sisters created and perverted it. But not only that, but also I think a little bit of delusion, a little bit of blue pill is good for us. So I'm about taking the purple pill. It's actually one of my life mottos, take the purple pill. Because for me, that concept means, you know, facing reality, facing the things that are uncomfortable, doing shadow work, but also having some fantasy in your life, having some beauty in your life, having some delusional optimism as well. I think a healthy dose of delusional optimism is great. Take the purple pill. Yeah, that's my life philosophy. But what was my point in that? Talking about the purple pill. Where did I start from on that one? Oh, going back to the ancestor card. I'm going to be like extra scattered because, again, sun, bleaching my brain. What were our ancestors doing with their time? You know, they definitely weren't chronically online, and they were more connected to nature. I guarantee it. I am that person that I think technology, I think the way that it is designed, the way that the algorithms are designed, I mean, it's not with a nefarious intent, but it's having an undesirable outcome, to say the least. Like, the tech companies want you to be paying attention to their products. You know, what they want is engagement, which means they want you staring at your phone at all times. That is what they want, because that is how they can get advertising to you. They actually want you. I mean, not in a nefarious way, but just in a they want money kind of way. They aren't that doesn't mean that they have nefarious intent, but the result is that our attention is being sucked out of us with things that cause us anxiety. And maybe your phone does not cause you anxiety, but it causes me anxiety. Just the fact that I pull it out of my pocket every 2 seconds to look at it causes me anxiety. So certain things that I'm doing for myself, just in case you want to do some of these things as well. Basically just keeping my phone out of arm's reach. Keeping it in my locker when I'm at work. Keeping it in the other room when I'm at home. As much as possible, I'm trying to do this. And it's having the effect that I'm able to pay more attention to the things that I want to intentionally pay attention to. Whether I'm reading cards, or I'm writing in my journal, or I'm reading a book. Like, I'm able to actually focus on those things when I'm not constantly picking up my phone. And it's helping me with my shopping addictions too, as you might expect, because if my phone is not in arm's reach, then I'm not constantly looking on eBay or Amazon or wherever to see if they have a thing that I want, you know? Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to go on that little tangent, but whatever. This is where I'm at. Also, huge thing for me in my life, I have deleted the YouTube Studio app from my phone. Because it tells you all this shit, like how well your video is doing compared to other videos that you've made recently. What comments you've gotten that you haven't answered yet. You know, like shit like that. Stuff that I don't fucking need to know. I want to encourage you guys to comment if you would like to comment, but it might be a week or more before I actually see your comment, and that has been so good for my mental health, because I'm not picking up my phone in a moment of anxiety. Like, social anxiety will make us pull our phones out of our pockets to look at something to soothe us, right? But I don't know about you, but 9 times out of 10, the result is not being soothed, it's becoming more anxious. Anyway, I'm that guy. Okay, our animal card, we got nourishment while waiting. So we've got like this, I think it's a baby hawk. Baby hawk and this little mouse at the top. Okay, so let's flip over the rest of our tarot cards here. 10 of Wands, 8 of Cups. So far that's reinforcing what I've said. 2 of Cups. We are currently in 2 of Cups right now for another couple of days. Tower. And Knight of Swords. I think we as a society are headed towards this Tower moment. And that's not like, you know, I'm not trying to have like catastrophic thinking here with that, but I think the sheer level of overwhelm and of needing to communicate with each other at all times, that sort of like idea that you need to answer people immediately when they text you. I always flash back to, and this is something that I've probably used as an example in mini readings before, so forgive me if you've heard this one, but one of the things that I think about often is back in the beginning of the smartphone age. This was like within the first 2 or 3 years of almost everybody having smartphones. I remember my brother told me once, just because you have your phone in your pocket does not mean you're constantly available. And it was just like the wisest thing that my little brother has ever said to me. I think about it all the time. Like, even if you are technically constantly reachable, that doesn't mean you're always available. And we as a society, I mean, this shit is still new enough, being chronically online, as I say, is still new enough that we are, we don't know how to handle it yet. We are overwhelmed by these stresses of society. And I know I talk about this all the time, but this is just like a very big thing that we all need to deal with. And it sucks that right now it has to be, or it doesn't have to be, but like me personally, I can't control like companies. I have no control over that. So for me, all I can do is at the individual level. At the individual level, I can choose to walk away from being chronically online. And I do see that this perception card, the Ancient Ones card, and the Nature card is like specifically pushing me towards, yes, I do need to talk about this idea, because I couldn't actually decide today when I sat down, do I want to talk about how I've been dealing with my own personal addictions, or do I want to do a reading? So I'm kind of doing both, essentially, is what happened. So I'm going to continue. I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to go with it. That's what I'm doing. I think we are feeling too rushed and too anxious and too overwhelmed in our lives. And the reason for that is because we're trying to pay attention to everything, everywhere, all at once, is what we're trying to do. And that's not good for anybody. And what I have realized for myself, like just kind of, sorry, this is just going to be like personal babbling / kind of a reading. So this is probably not going to apply to as many people as I had hoped when I started this, because I'm getting real specific in my own life. But y'all remember when I posted a video in like mid-April that like everybody got upset about, and there was a bunch of VRs, and some people really decided they didn't like me anymore. You remember that, right? Most of you do. I was in the recording of that video. I didn't necessarily realize it at the time, but I was part of the way that I was emoting in that video. And I was very much like, I was doing some projections of my own. I was frustrated. I was angry. And, you know, I've spent a lot of time journaling in the last 2.5 months since I posted that video. And I was really able to trace it back for myself. Like, not only trace it back to my own shopping addiction issue, which is something that I have, but I was able to realize that this is not a personal issue that I have. This is a collective issue. And of course, you know, if this does not apply to you, just ignore me. If you start yelling at me in the comments, it's going to be pretty obvious that you do resonate with what I'm about to say. Sorry. Whew. I've taken some measures to ward off the evil eye in my own tarot space. So that was just a little sign that it was working. Anyway, I was able to trace that back. Like, not only like do I personally have a shopping addiction issue, but where does that come from? It comes from the way that the algorithms work, the way that like the tech companies have orchestrated everything in our online lives, which our online lives are taking over our nature-based lives. They've orchestrated it so that we will pay the most attention to the devices. Because the more time we're paying attention to those devices, the more time they have to advertise to us. It's like literally to the point where they want us to be sleep deprived. Because if we were actually getting our, you know, recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, how many of you are actually getting that much sleep? Let me know in the comments. If we were actually all getting our recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, then that would actually really hurt the economy, because being sleep deprived shopping online is something that capitalism is dependent on that at this point. It's dependent on us being sleep deprived and looking at our phones too often, and I think what we're seeing over and over and over again, what I'm seeing, is that people are becoming collectors that have never been collectors before. Because when we're constantly sharing with each other all of the things that we've bought, justifying our purchases online to one another, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I do think that most people that have a YouTube channel are doing that. You can view it through the lens, again, perception, you can view it through the lens of people justifying their purchases with each other. People advertising for other people by justifying their purchases. It's to the point where, like, repeatedly I've had a scenario happen. So here's an example. So this was like last week or the week before, I don't know. I was at Target, which is where I do most of my grocery shopping, and I looked at their perfume aisle, because I do that periodically, because I like perfume. And I was going to see if they had any interesting, like, cheap body sprays or something like that, because I've been getting into cheap-ass body sprays. They have some good ones at Walmart for $3. $3 for a little bottle. The vanilla is really good. And Twilight Mist, also a good one. Anyway, see, look, I'm justifying purchases right now. I'm going to bring this out as well, because it was on the bottom. The sun. That's what we're talking about today. The sun. So I discovered a perfume that they had. They had a tester bottle, and I liked it. I tried it on, and I liked it, and it reminded me of a perfume that I have a sample of that is really expensive, and I've never bought a full bottle because it's expensive, and I'm still using up my sample anyway. And I was like, oh, cool. I might want to buy this. Affordable grocery store perfume. I might want to buy it right now. And then I look, and they don't actually have any bottles in stock. Like, it's completely cleared out. All they have is a tester bottle. So I'm like, okay, I get home, I check the Target website, it's completely sold out. Any stores nearby, any stores online, you can't order it online. I go to, like, eBay, as is. And there's a shit ton of them on eBay. And they're overpriced. They're selling, or they're listed for way more than you would pay for it in the store, which completely negates the purpose of, like, discovering a grocery store perfume that you like, that you can actually afford, right? And motherfuckers are doing this left and right. And I realize that they're doing it, you know, for reasons like, but this is happening. Like, basically, Perfume YouTube had discovered this particular perfume, unbeknownst to me, because I just tried it on in the store. And they had talked about it, and so everybody bought it up, and now they're selling it on eBay for ridiculous prices. Or trying to, at least. I don't know if they're succeeding, but that's the only place you can find it. And I've noticed that situation, and I'm sure you have too, so many times recently. There was a situation like that with a Bath and Body Works spray last Halloween that I wanted, and it was like barely even Halloween season. It was like September, and it was already completely wiped out in all the stores, but there was a shit ton of it on eBay. Because motherfuckers just go and clear a store out of something that they know is popular and then sell it in other places for jacked up prices. This is capitalism, guys. It's not cute. It's not cute, and who does it serve? And I realize that part of that issue stems back to collecting. Like, many of us have become collectors of things because we're interested in a thing and we look it up on YouTube and we see other people talking about different versions of that thing, and it exposes us to more of that thing than we would normally have access to. You know, if being online was not a situation, like if online didn't exist, I would probably have 3 to 5 tarot decks, which is how many I had up until discovering tarot YouTube. And, like, I'm happy with the collection of items that I have. I like all the different things that I have, and I'm not going to stop buying tarot and oracle decks. I'm not going to stop buying perfume. But there's also an anxiety attached to this that is really unhealthy. Really unhealthy for me, and I know that it might be the same for you guys. Like, it's not fun to collect things, in my opinion. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. I'm not enjoying this. I'm feeling overwhelmed by it. So for me, since I have been intentionally pulling back from, like, I don't even watch tarot YouTube anymore for the most part. And it's bittersweet because, like, there's some people that I really enjoy watching their videos, and I still will sometimes, but I have to keep that shit very limited because I am very easily overstimulated, and when I'm overstimulated, it leads me into the behaviors that aren't good for me, such as shopping compulsively. Like, not just, like, I do buy things online. Like, lately, I mean, I'm still buying things online, but lately I've been buying more things that I just need, like little things for around the house, because suddenly I'm, like, waking up to the world around me and going, oh my God, I have needed to replace that strand of lights for, like, how many months? I have needed to take care of this thing. I did something yesterday. It was a 10-minute phone call that I have needed to make for 3.5 years. A situation that has been sort of like low-key causing me anxiety for 3.5 years took a 10-minute phone call to resolve. You know? Like, that kind of shit. Like, I'm willing to bet that all of us has a list of that kind of shit that we just feel like we can't take care of anymore. Like, I have felt in recent years like I can't handle anything anymore. And I thought, well, am I just getting, like, more autistic with age? Am I just, like, more overwhelmed the older I get? Like, is this just how autism works? No, I don't think it is. Maybe it is to a certain extent, but I think the larger issue for me personally is being just so chronically overstimulated online. And that moment of, you know, me recording that video that a lot of people had a bad reaction to, I was having a very emotional, I was kind of having an emotional outburst. I was sort of having a meltdown in front of the internet. And the reason that that was happening is because I was at a breaking point. Because I was paying too much attention to what other people thought. And I personally have realized that there's only, like, I can only pay attention to, like, the tip of the iceberg when it comes to, like, news, even if it is just news within communities that I'm a part of. Like, I can't handle a lot, but I'm realizing that I can actually handle more than I thought I can handle. It's just I need to be taking genuine breaks from being online. Like, I was posting, at that point in time, I was probably posting 3 to 5 YouTube videos a week, and I didn't realize that that was running me ragged, but it was. So as you guys have probably noticed, I've cut way back. I haven't even posted on my public YouTube. I haven't publicly posted in, like, 2 weeks as of this recording. And that's fine. I mean, like, no problem, right? Like, it's fine. We don't actually need every single content creator that we love. We don't actually need for them to post 3 to 5 times a week. I mean, the algorithm wants us to, but that's not good for anybody. That's not good for the person making the content. It's not good for the person that wants to keep up with that particular content creator. We all need to slow our fucking rolls. We need to stop compulsively communicating. And again, a reminder, disclaimer, like, I'm obviously talking about my own experience here, and I'm speaking as if it applies to all of us. I do recognize that my experience does not reflect everyone's experience, so, you know, take what resonates and leave the rest, as they say, right? Don't take any of this shit personally if it doesn't apply to you. But I do see this as being an issue that's more than just me. We're all chronically online. And people that are genuinely happy are the people that we don't see around these spaces that often, you know? people that are, you know, taking time to commune with nature are not, like, I mean, seriously, you can spend 10 minutes outside just, like, listening to the birds and staring at the sky, and you will be replenished to a certain degree, right? You will realize, oh, none of that online shit really matters that much now, does it? Not really. And at this point, you know, I was kind of obsessing back when the drama happened. I was sort of obsessing with, like, what everybody thought of me. I was watching all the VRs, and I was replying to all of the comments on that video. And, you know, I was really obsessing about what people thought about me online. And that's not a good space to be in, because I think more often than not, people don't really get me. And that's always been the case. And, you know, sometimes that makes me really sad, but other times it's just like, okay, well, that's just my lot in life, right? So I gotta work with it. Not that many people get me. That's okay. The people that do get me are ride or die, beautiful babes that I love, right? And they're few and far between, and that's okay. I don't need 1,000 friends, you know? But I was, and now I have disconnected from that. Like, I don't know if people are still making VRs to that video, if people are still sort of, like, feeling a type of way about me because I had an emotional outburst online. I don't know. And it's better for me not to know, you know? All I can do is my best. And you guys are seeing me evolve as a person, hopefully in a good direction. And that's it. That's all I got. That's all I can do, is be myself and try to work through my shit. And yeah. Anyway. So I'm doing great, though. I'm doing fucking fantastic psychologically. And part of it is because, I mean, a huge part of it is because I've been taking the time in my life to do the things that I say. I mean, I think we all have, like, the hobbies that we say are important to us. Like, writing, for me, writing in a journal is very important to me. Reading is important to me. Listening to music is really important to me. Dancing. Like, if I were to sit down and tell you what things in my life are important to me, they're things like writing in a journal, reading books, listening to music, riding my bike, swimming, if it's summer, going for walks, hanging out with my animals, doing my radio show. I do love reading tarot, but there's only so much time that you can sit inside a tiny little closet reading tarot cards before you go mad, right? There is too much of any good thing. Too much can happen of any good thing. And I think we're seeing that with any time somebody has a hobby, an interest. And when I say hobby, I don't mean that, like, reading tarot is a hobby. I do see it as something more important than that. But collecting tarot cards is kind of a hobby, right? Like, we don't need huge collections. And if we have them, maybe we don't need to think about them quite so much, right? And if they're causing us a lot of distress, maybe it's time to reassess what we have. I have definitely been decluttering, because that's just a natural state for me. And I've also noticed, this has just sort of happened naturally too, I have become a location-based tarot reader as far as my selection of decks. So when I'm in my tarot closet, I only store, let's see, I think it's only 2. Yeah, I only store 2 decks in this tarot closet with me. My Marigold Tarot and my Tarot of the Cat People. So when I'm in this room, usually I'm using one of those 2 decks, because one, One is right there on the wall, and one is right there on the wall. When I'm sitting in my recliner, which is usually what I do the last hour or two of my night, reading a book or writing in a journal or playing with tarot cards, whatever, I have an RWS deck hanging on the wall right next to my recliner. So I just reach for that whenever because I do a lot of tarot supplemented journaling, you know. So that's what I read when I'm there. And then I have my Wild Unknown that I keep downstairs because I read that when I'm sitting on my porch, which I sit on my porch as often as weather permits. Honestly, as often as weather and time permits, I'll be on my porch. I'm one of those people. Yeah. And those are the things that matter in life, you know? It's not smartphones. Smartphones aren't what matters. And of course, like, none of us would say that's what matters, but if you think about what you're actually paying attention to in your life, if you're anything like me, like, those numbers on the Screen Time app are scary. They are terrifying. Because your life is what you spend your time doing, right? And if you are spending for me, if I am spending my time staring at my phone, I'm not in a good place. That's not a happy place to be. Sometimes it is. Like, I do spend a lot of time on WhatsApp just, like, genuinely connecting to other human beings, having actual conversations. But by and large, having my phone in my hands and looking at it is a time of being overwhelmed for me. So maybe I'm just not the person for the smartphone life, even though I've been doing it for, Jesus, when did I get my first smartphone? 2009, I think, or 2010. So it's been 13-ish years that I have been very chronically online. And it's not for me. I want to reconnect with nature. I want to reconnect with my ancestors in the sense of what were they doing. I want to reconnect to the things that I say. Like I was saying before, I want to reconnect to the things that I say are my hobbies. The things that I say are the ways that I want to spend my time. Dancing, walking, swimming, riding my bike, writing in a journal. Like, I keep repeating these same activities, but it's to remind myself, too. These are the priorities in my life. So maybe how to bring this back to the reading. Sorry guys, this really derailed, didn't it? But that's what you get whenever you subscribe to my channel, a lot of derailing. So what are the things in your life that you associate with your true nature, who you are at your core? What are the things that you genuinely enjoy doing? And how can you do those things more? I mean, for me, I have to, like, literally, I have to put my phone away from me. So that I'm not, because I'm a lazy motherfucker. If I'm, like, situated in my recliner and I'm happy and comfortable and I've got my book and I've got my journal and I've got a tarot deck, if my phone is not within arm's reach, even if it's, like, 15 feet away and I'd have to get up and take a few steps to pick it up, I'm not gonna fucking do it, probably. So that works for me as a deterrent a lot of the time. And I've also, I guess I can show this to you since it is within arm's reach, even though my phone isn't. I have this iPod, and I have, this is what I'm using to, like, listen to podcasts and stuff while I'm at work, and it's also, you know, like, anytime I want to listen to music, I can listen to it on this device. It doesn't have to be Spotify. Okay, let's end this whole thing with, I'm gonna have to title this video something like, What to Do If You're Chronically Online. or something like that. Let's read some of our cards. Let's read from the guidebook of Mystical Shaman for this Ancient Ones card. And that's how we'll end this. Because I could just sit here and talk about this bullshit forever. I am that bitch. Take the purple pill. The Ancient Ones are the shamans of old who defeated death and escaped from the tyranny of time. The Ancient Ones once walked the earth with us in flesh and bone. Now they reside in infinity and can counsel us after we say yes to our calling. They are available to help us attain our full realization. The Ancient Ones are inviting you to reach to the future to help birth a new destiny for the earth. Go ahead, find out who you are becoming. If you accept the invitation, great power and blessings will come your way and allow you to craft a new destiny for yourself. Do not hesitate to bite off more than you can chew because you have unlimited spiritual resources available right now. This is another message that I sometimes get with the Ten of Wands. Sometimes it's a message from my ghost guides and goddesses to actually take on more than you think you can handle. Because you can actually handle more than you think you can. Again, for my purposes, there's the added, if you step away from your phone, you can handle life. It's the anxiety that like sort of like 24/7 news cycle vibe of life puts you in. The anxiety of the algorithm, you know? You can actually handle the things that you need to take care of in your life, the things in actual reality, the things in nature. You can actually handle all that shit more than you think you can. Let's look at our Baby Hawk card as well, which is one that we get like almost every time I pull this deck out for pick-a-pile readings and stuff. I feel like I pull this card more than any other in this deck. It's card number 5. Wise old hawk looks back on her past self and shares the medicine to not just wait in patience, but to learn while you wait. Stay persistent on your path toward growth and develop and strengthen yourself, for it is the consistent nourishment to become your greatest self that magnetizes you toward dreams unimaginable to you now. So again, if you take anything from this situation, all this bullshit I've been spewing, I think that this moment, this tower moment that we see here, is going to affect other people. It's going to affect the chronically online. So if we can stop being that person, it won't be affecting us the way that it's going to affect everyone else. Does that make sense? I do also kind of see this Knight of Swords right now. I'm seeing it as kind of like comment culture. Like this idea that we have gotten it into our heads, and me included. Like we think we need to speak our piece on every single thing that's going down at any given time. We think we need to put in our 2 cents on everything. We don't. We don't. Remember that part in Bo Burnham's Inside comedy special where he's like, can any one person shut the fuck up at any time about anything? It's that. It's that. I think we need to shut the fuck up a little bit. So in that vein, perfect segue, I will now shut the fuck up. Thank you guys for listening. Oh my god, if you made it this far. I don't even know what this was, but thank you. Bye.